Hello and welcome to this Java tutorial. So in this chapter, we'll see what are loops and what all loops are available in Java, along with some code examples. So if we go by definition, then loops are structures that let your program repeat actions without writing the same code again and again, right? So suppose I have to write some text, let's say I love Java programming language 5 times, then what will you do? So one option is I can use system.out.println with that text and I can write it 5 times, right? So something like this. Let's create a basic structure also. So new package I'll create within that basic dot loops. Okay. And ultimately I'll write a for loop demo, but first let's write within this. Okay, so suppose I have to write that line. So one option is like this, right? I can write I love Java programming language, right? One time, and then I can copy the same thing 5 times. So that is one option. Of course, it has its own problems, right? Suppose I have to write the same thing 10 times, 20 times, 50 times. How many times will you paste it, right? So it does not look like a very viable solution here. So that is where actually you will use loop, right? So any scenario where you have to keep doing the same thing again and again, that's where you can use a loop, as we say also in English, right? Running in a loop. So you are doing something again and again. So that is what you'll do with these loops. So what all loops are there in Java? There are three types of loops. There is for loop, there is while loop, there is do while loop. So that is what we'll see one by one. So we'll start with for loop in Java. So within for loop also there are two forms actually. There is traditional for loop, which is available from the very beginning of Java. Then there is also one enhanced for loop, also known as for each loop, which was introduced in Java 5. That is actually designed to be used with arrays and collections. Make it more convenient actually to be used with the arrays and collections. So first we'll go with the traditional for loop. So that is how you will write a traditional for loop. So for, then in round brackets, you'll have three things actually: initialization, then semicolon, then a condition. Then you will increment or decrement the variable which you have initialized here. Then curly braces and loop body. So statements which are part of the loop body are enclosed within the curly braces. And here also, just like if else, if you have a single statement, then these curly braces are optional. But if your loop body consists of more than one statement, then you have to have these brackets. And actually, it is not mandatory to do all these three things within for loop. So we'll see how you can change it. But that is the most used way, where you'll have all three things here divided by semicolons, right? We'll separate them by semicolons and you'll have initialization, condition, and increment or decrement. Now coming to these parts. So first thing is initialization. So this step is used to set the initial value of the variable, which controls the for loop. So you will set the variable and initialize it with some value, and this will run only once in the beginning. So it is executed only once. Then this initialized variable is incremented or decremented in this step. Then you will have a condition that is evaluated before each iteration. If condition is true, then the loop body executes. If it is false, then you come out of the loop. So loop terminates. And of course, increment or decrement, where you will increase or decrease the value of the variable. And by increment or decrement, if you are getting an idea that it can be incremented only by one each time, that is not true. You can increase or decrease by more than one also. So I plus 2 or I plus 3, if your initial variable is I, you can increase or decrease by any value. Okay. So let's do the same thing first. So suppose I want to write the same thing using a loop. Then what you'll do? So for initialize a variable first thing. So I want it 5 times y less than 5 because I'm starting from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 5 times, right? And I'll increment it by 1. And within that, I can write this. So I don't need to write it many times. It'll do the same thing. It will come in this loop. It will initialize I with value as 0. Then it will see 0 is less than 5. Yes. So it will go and execute this statement. Then it will go to the increment part in each iteration. I will become 1. Again, it will check 1 less than 5. Yes. And so on. 2 less than 5, 3 less than 5, 4 less than 5. It will keep on executing this statement. Then it becomes 5. 5 less than 5? No. Then this loop terminates. So you can check here. I mean, we can put a statement here also after for loop. So it will come out after executing it 5 times. Now it's easy, right? Suppose I want to execute this statement 10 times. I have to just change here. Right? Now it is executing 10 times. 50 times, no problem. Change here. Right? Let's bring it back to 5. And if you are more comfortable with the start value as 1, then what you can do is make it 1 and make it less than equal to 5, right? So 1 to 5. Correct? But generally, once you start with array and collections, everything starts with index 0. So better to get used with the starting with 0 itself. Okay, so let's do another one where we have to print numbers 1 to 5. And let's do as a separate method. So what you can write here is click static. We'll print here itself. So void and print numbers. What you have to do is again int. I'll start with 0 itself, right? Y less than 5 and I plus plus. Within that, I can print this I itself and call it from here, print numbers. Method to print numbers. So I'll get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 actually, right? If I use it like this. So here you have a valid reason why you should start with 1 if you want 1 to 5. 1 less than equal to 5. Now you'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is one thing. Now, as I said, right, it will initialize and check. And then each time it will increment and check. So that's how it will work. That you can check with initial value itself bigger than 5. Then if you see it is not even printing any number, right? Because initially itself it will go wrong. I 6, then it will check 6 less than equal to 5. No, nothing is getting printed here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now suppose I want to print in reverse. Then what you can do? I want 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do it as a separate method. Print numbers in reverse. Right? Method to print numbers in reverse. All right. So what I can do is I can do it like this. 5 I less than equal to 1 will become I greater than equal to 1 and I minus minus this time. Right. So it will start with 5 Is 5 greater than equal to 1? Yes. It will print 5. Then it will go and decrement this time, right? So 4. 4 greater than equal to 1? Yes. It will print again. And that is what it will keep on doing till it becomes 1. Right? 1 greater than equal to 1? Yes. It will print that 1 and then it will come out. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now suppose there is another one. Method to print table of given number from 1 to 10 in form whatever is the number, suppose 4 into 1 equal to 4. We want in this form, right? Whatever you are displaying, you have to display in this form. So you can try it yourself also. Static void print table of the given number. So whatever number I pass, will print the table of that number. For this will also start from 1 to go till 10 and increment by 1. What I have to print is would look like this, right? So whatever number, that number plus cross plus this I, that will keep on increasing, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That, then again plus equal to I. That is where it will actually do the multiplication. Then I can call this with, let's say, 7 initially. I'll get like this: 7 into 1, 7 into 2, till 7 into 10. I just have to pass another number here. So it shows an example of method also. Just once you have to write that method, whatever number you pass, you will get the table of that number. So method is helping you with writing the same code only once, and within that, the statement only once, which is repeated by for loop. So that is how you are reducing code redundancy. Right? Then suppose I have to print only even numbers between 1 to 10. Print even numbers between 1 to 10. Then what I can do? Here I can increment by more, right? Print even numbers. So suppose I start from 2 itself. Then what I can do is I less than equal to 10. And what I can do here is I equal to I plus 2. So it will be incremented by 2, not only 1. Then I can print I. Okay. Call also. Then I call it from here and I run it. I get 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So one way of printing even numbers by using for loop. So same way, if you want, you can try for odd numbers. So these are some examples of using for loop in different ways: incrementing, decrementing, printing table where you get a parameter, how you use that, and how to increment by more than one, and where it will help. So these are some programs where we have used for loop. So if you remember here, I said that it is not mandatory to do initialization and increase decrease within the for loop statement. What it actually means is, let's try to understand here. What you can do is you can write it like this: int I equal to 1, you can bring here and remove it from here. You still need semicolons, but same thing can be written like this, right? Initialization is happening here, increment decrement is happening here. If I print number, that one, it is still doing 1 2 3 4 5, right? So that is what you mean by that. You don't need to do initialization and increase decrease within the for loop statement, but generally this is the preferred way. You keep everything in the same line, which is more readable actually. So that is how you should actually use, but there are scenarios where you may have to initialize in the beginning. That way you can use it after your loop ends, right? Otherwise, if you initialize it here, then that variable has scope within the for loop. So there are scenarios sometimes you may need to have access to that variable once the loop ends, then you may do it like this. All right, so that is all about for loop in its traditional form. Then there is also a Java for each loop or enhanced for loop. So this was introduced actually in Java 5 so that you can iterate over arrays and collections in a simple manner. So unlike the traditional for loop which we have just seen, you don't have to do the index management here. This you do, right? I plus plus or I minus minus or whatever you add to it. So that is not done with enhanced for loop. So syntax is like this: whatever collection or array you are using, you just give colon here, and in this side you give one variable. So type is the data type of the element in the collection, where is the variable of that type, and collection or array whatever you are taking. So if you are following how I have laid out this course, then in case you don't know array or collections, let's just do a simple one with an array for now to get an idea of for each. Once we come to the array and the collections, we'll have many more usage of this for each. For now, what you can do is for each demo, let's say. Okay, so let's say an array. So how you can create an array is num equal to, in curly braces, I can initialize, let's say, values 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. So 10 values. So if I have to iterate it, what I can do is, since it is of type int, so I can take one variable n of type int colon and num. That's it. And then I can just print the n. I'll get all the numbers in the array. How it is working is that can be explained as, in each iteration, take one number out of this array. So first it will get one out of this array, assign it to the variable n, right? So it will print 1. In second iteration, take the second number, assign it to variable n. So now n has value 2 and so on. So this is simpler than using this whole one, right? Though for array also there is a bigger one. Let's not go into all that for now. So this is an example of for each when used with array, where you can use the for each one, which is in a way simpler than traditional for loop. Then there is one more thing, nested loop. So you can write one loop inside another, and that is true for any loop actually, for loop, while loop, do while loop. So whenever you do that, place one loop inside another. These loops are called nested loops. So you can do that with for also. So we'll see one example with for first. Nested for loop you can create, which is generally used for working with multi-dimensional data structures like 2D array or matrix, or for generating repetitive patterns. So in a nested loop, for each iteration of the outer loop, the inner loop is iterated until the condition in the inner for loop evaluates to false. So suppose I have to print number 1 to 10 5 times. So 1, 2, up to 10. Then again 1, 2, up to 10. What I can do is I can have one outer loop which will control the row, how many rows I have, and another loop, inner loop, which can control these columns. That is how I can do it, right? So that is where I have a repetitive pattern where I have rows also and columns also. Then I can use a nested for loop. Let's try to do this one first. We can create a class nested for loop demo. Okay. And let's create it as a separate static void. Print number lines. Let's print 1 to 10 5 times. That's what it will do. What I can do here is I can have an outer loop. So int I equal to 0, I less than 5, and I plus plus, right? And within that I can create another for loop. This is the inner for loop to print 10 times, right? So, and here I can print j itself. So let's take it from 1, j less than equal to 10, j plus plus. And sys out, since I want them in the same line, so I remove the ln part. I'll use j and give a space. Once I'm out of one inner loop, then I have to go to the another line. So here I can say sysout.println. So that is how I can get 5 times 1 to 10. What is happening here is, let's write it like this. Also outer loop. So I start with I equal to 0 in the outer loop. And this is inner loop. So I equal to 0, it will start. Then it will come here. J equal to 1. Right? It will see 1 is less than equal to 10. Yes. So this will continue 10 times. Once it is terminated, when the value of j goes beyond 10, then it will be terminated, right? Then it will come here, right? And it will go to the another line because of this system.out.println. But we are not yet out of the loop. So it will go again. This is only done for I equal to 0 for now, right? So now I will become 1. 1 less than 5, yes, it will come back here again. And again it will do the same thing 10 times from j1 to 10. Then again it will go to the next line. I will become 2. Same thing. I will become 3. I will become 4. I becomes 5. Then it will terminate this whole thing, right? It will come out of this outer loop. That means this whole thing, it will come here. Out of loop. It will be printed only once here. We put something here, inner loop ended. That will be printed with each inner loop, right? 1 to 10, then inner loop ended. 1 to 10, inner loop ended. All right. So making sense. That is how I can use nested for loop. One loop within another. And that can be done many times. You want 3 times also if you have this kind of scenario. But that becomes very difficult to manage and very slow also, because it's kind of n square operation, right? For every element here you are running it these many times. It is also used with multi-dimensional data structures, like, right? So let's try to do something. um, Here also we'll create a matrix. So there also you have something similar, right? If you have a matrix, you will have 1, 2, 3. You have a row and columns, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 3 rows, 3 columns, right? So something similar. I can have an outer loop to manage the row and an inner loop to manage the columns. What I can do here is, let's say I ask, can use a scanner. So scanner, new scanner, system.in, enter number of rows in the matrix. Let's say I take as int row equal to next int. Then same thing, enter the number of columns in the matrix at next int. Then let's do it in a separate method. I'll name it create matrix. So, and I'll pass row and column from here, which I'll create here. Public static void create matrix column, right? Then you can create same thing as you have done here. Int I equal to 0, I less than row. So 0, 1, 2, 3, right? And within that, for j equal to 0, j less than column, j plus plus will be your inner. Actually, we need to create a 2D array also. What we can do is int, this is for array and we need 2D, so 2 times. Let's name it matrix itself equal to new int. Here I can give the dimensions, so row and column. This is my array. So matrix I j equal to, let's say I take the value like this only. I have to use this here also. Enter the element. We can use the scanner itself, but not this one. So let's close it here. Same thing we can do here also. Scanner. This is a separate instance. Next, int. For the element, we can take that int, let's say e, and that will be added to matrix I j equal to e. Correct? So 0, this will start with 0. This will keep changing. So 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. Then it will come out here. This will become 1. This will again start from 0. So 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2. Then this will change. That is what you will have, right? This will have the position 0, 0. 0 row, 0 column. This will be 0 row, 1 column. 0 row, 2 column. This is first row, 0 column. So that is what you'll do here. And let's display this also. So again, we'll have to use the nested loop, and then we can do just like this. Out, print matrix ij, and after that, so that we get them in same line, then I can do what we did, right? Similar way. Create matrix already called. Now let's try to run it. So it will ask me number of rows. Let's say 3, 3. Enter the element. Say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then I get my matrix 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Or if you want, looking very cramped kind of, right? I can give some space here with each element. Number of rows 3, number of columns 3. Enter the element. Let's give all of them in. And give like this also, right? Scanner uses by default space as delimiter, so I've given all of them in one shot only, rather than giving each one of them separately. So this is my matrix 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, second row, 7, 8, 9, third row. So that is how you can use nested loop to create multi-dimensional data structure. I mean, not only creating, managing kind of, and for generating repetitive pattern. We have tried to do both of them. We created one program which generates the repetitive pattern. So this is used a lot. You are doing some pyramid pattern program. That is where you will use nested loops or some sortings which are slower, but to start with bubble sort, insertion sort, selection sort, all that you will do with nested loops. So it is used quite a lot and quite frequently. So you should have a good grasp of nested loops actually. All right, so now let's move on to another loop, which is while loop. In while loop, you have while and then a condition in round brackets. So this loop executes as long as this condition evaluates to true. So this condition is true and loop keeps on executing. Once this condition evaluates to false, this loop will terminate. So that is how you use the while loop. Again, these curly braces are optional if your loop body contains only a single statement, but if it has more than one statement, then you have to have these curly braces. All right, so let's try to do it. Now, if you have done for loop, it will be actually easy to go through other loops. So while loop demo. And suppose we do the same thing here to print a table of any number. So again, we can do it as a separate method, public static void print table int num, int table int num, and we'll call it from here with some number. Let's say 11 in the beginning. Right. Now, what you can do here to write it as a while loop, first thing you need a variable. Right. We need from 1, so let's make it 1. And while I is less than equal to 10. So this is our condition. Right. while this number is less than equal to 10, because we need from 1 to 10, right, table with this number. And here we can do the same thing again. Num, then in here also plus, then quotes x plus, here we can use I, again quotes, and what we have to give here is equal to plus, here we can give the operation num into I, right? And I we have to increase also, that all we have to do ourselves. So if you see, it is very similar to if we use for loop, right, like this, right? If we dismantle our for loop and bring all the components of for loop in separate lines, while loop is very similar to that, right? You have only condition here, initialization, increment, decrement you do separately. So that is your while loop. With that, you get it like that. So don't forget any part of it. You don't increment, it will keep on doing the same thing for 1, because it will always be 1 less than 10. Yes, you'll keep on doing. So you'll be in an infinite loop. You have to have this increment to come out of this condition, right? So don't forget that. So that is your while loop. If you want to do another one, let's say this time we print odd numbers. Print odd numbers between 1 to 10. So int I equal to 1, need odd, so let's start with 1. Then again, while I is less than equal to 10, print I, and this, then increase it by 2, so that it becomes 3, 5, 7, 9, and then you end it. Okay. Then I can call it from here, separate print odd numbers. I don't have to pass anything. So I get 13579. So that is how you can use while loop. So you can try yourself also with other things. You can use nested also, what we have done in for loop. You can try the same thing with nested while loop also. All right. So that is for you to practice yourself. We'll move on to another loop, which is do while. So in do while loop, actually, if you see, this is the syntax. You have do, then curly braces, then loop body, then after curly brace and you have the condition. So you have condition at the end, right? So Java do while loop is similar to while loop, except that the condition is evaluated after the loop body. So condition is at the end. Since the condition is at the end, so this loop will always be executed at least once. Whereas in the while loop, condition evaluates to false at the beginning itself, then the loop body is not executed at all. So that is the difference between while and do while. Let's try to understand it with code. We can create a new class, do while, and let's do this same thing, print odd number using do while. What you will do with do while is like this, right? Do, you will have condition here, do while, like this, but then it, right? And here I'll have the condition I is less than equal to 10. Then I can call it from here, print odd numbers, and run it. I get 13579. Similar, right? Do while I less than equal to 10. Only difference is if I use 11, let's say here in the beginning itself, 11 is not less than or equal to 10, correct? But if I run it, I at least get it 1, right? 11, it will come here, it will print that 11, it will even make it 13, then it will check the condition. Is 13 less than equal to 10? No. So it will come out, but it will at least execute it once. Same thing here, if you do with 11, it will never go into the loop. I'm getting just for table, not for this. I change it back to 1, start getting that. So that is the difference, that do while will at least execute once. Since do while loop is executed at least once, so a very good use case for do while loop is if you have to show user a text based menu actually, because then you have that choice, right? That menu will at least be shown to the user once. You have that guarantee. So that is one use case. So let's see a program where we create a menu. That is already done actually. So this is the menu which is shown to the user within the do while. And if you see here we don't have the value for choice, but still it will go there at least once in this menu, that is guaranteed. Then it checks the condition here that choice should be in the range 1 and 3. So anything beyond that range, either less than 1 or greater than 3, then it will go back in the menu. It will show it again that you have to choose something in between this range. Once you choose something within this range, then only it will come out of this menu. Then there is also a switch case which is just going through that choice and showing you some text based on what you have chosen. All right, so if I run it, I'll at least get that menu once, right? If I choose something which is not within that range, let's say 4, then I'll be shown that menu again. If I choose something within this range, then it just goes through that switch and shows me whichever case matches that, right? That text. Run it again. So if I choose 0, let's say, again it will go back. If I choose 2, it will come out. I'll at least get that menu once. That is guaranteed because of do while, and that is a very good use case for the usage of do while loop. So these are the 3 loops actually in Java: for loop, while loop, and do while loop. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.